So should I close here? So I would like to just give a lecture which follows Marian and uses much of what he said, which I will assume, and I will continue. The first thing I want to observe is that the theory that Marian has outlined is a theory which studies algebraic variety from the point of view of equations and relations. So the idea of this theory is that the more complicated the relations are, the more interesting your varieties are. And so this is a point of view, which is not the only one, of course, you can take. And perhaps I can make an example here. Let me take n equal to 3 and start with 3 quadrics. So 3 quadrics in P3. I will not distinguish too much between equations, polynomials, and geometric locus. So I have 3 quadrics. Now, let's call I the idea generated by these quadrics in S. Kx not x3. Okay, now just consider the relation between these. What is that? The relation? I just take S tensor I2, I map to I. I want to see what is the kernel. So the relations, the module of relations is the kernel of this map. Okay, now R contains certainly, no matter how the quadrics are, certainly contains this relation Q2, Q1 minus Q1 Q2 equal to 0, which I can write as Q2 minus Q1 0. And then I have also Q3 Q1 minus Q1 Q3 equal to 0, which I write Q3 0 minus Q1. And then I have also Q2 Q1 minus Q1 Q2 equal to 0, which can be written as Q2 minus Q1 0. These are what... sorry, the phase of the last one. Q2, Q3, no? So this is a Q2, Q3, Q2 minus Q2, Q3. Right? So I get 0. We always have these relations, and from the point of view of the theory, these are trivial. They're called trivial relations, and they are inside here and generate a module inside here. If they generate all of R, this means exactly that Q1, Q2, and Q3 is a regular sequence, and this is the trivial case in some sense. The only relation we get are those generated by the trivial ones. There is another. So first case are generated by R1, and I call this R12, R13, R23. This is R12, this is R13, and this is. So the first case is that. We have a second case, which is the following. Suppose that we have a matrix of linear forms matrix which has ought to be sufficiently general so to avoid trivialities of linear dependence among them. So we can take Q1, Q2, Q3, the two by two minors of this matrix. Actually, we can take this alternate sign. So the first is the minor. Let me just guess. I erase this column, I get the first one. I erase this column, I get the second one with a minus sign. I erase this column, and I get the third one. Now, here, again, we have these trivial relations, but we have also some relations which are linear, which are L1 Q1 plus L2 Q2, and then we have also M1 Q1 Q2. These two relations come from the fact that if I take another line here, or these two have a repeated line, so the determinant is 0, and so I have two linear relations here. So this is a different case, because besides this trivial relation, which I always have, I have this relation. In this case, R is generated by L and M, where L is L1, L2, L3, and M is M1. So these are two different cases. From the point of view, so what is this case? This case is when from the point of view of CZG theory, this case is less interesting, and this case is more interesting, because here I have some extra CZGs which are not expected for a general choice of Q1, Q2, and Q3. What is the geometry of these two cases? When case 1, these are a regular sequence, so the intersection of these three, the variety they define, is a transversal intersection of three quadrics, and by Bezout I get 8 points in P3. In case 2, I get a rational normal curve. Now, of course, what is more interesting from the geometric point of view depends on your taste. For example, 100 years ago, the geometers would consider this case much more interesting than this one. 8 points in P3 have a very beautiful, generate a very beautiful geometric configuration, which has been studied by Hesse and by Cayley, and instead the rational normal cubic also is a very classical object, considered much more trivial classically, because it was very well understood from the geometry point of view. So it's a matter of taste. But let me just, perhaps not everybody knows the beauty of the 8 points, so I want to digress on the trivial case. There is some geometry in this case. 8 points. So what happens here? Here we have, we consider the net of quadrics generated by Q1, Q2, Q3. So this means that I'm taking all the quadrics of the form Q lambda, lambda 1, Q1, lambda 3, Q3, lambdas constant, not all 0, And this is a quadric, which move depends on two homogeneous parameters, three homogeneous parameters. And now I take the symmetric matrix of coefficients. This is a 4x4 matrix. And if you take the determinant of A lambda, this is quartic polynomial in lambda, which defines a plane, a quartic curve in the plane with coordinates lambda. And the theory shows that all quartic plane curves, at least non-singular ones, for the generic choice of Q1, Q2, and Q3, are obtained in this way, and the geometry of this quartic is completely reflected in geometry of this net of quadrics. For example, the quartic C in P2 has 28 bitangents, and of course the plane P2 is identified with the set of all quadrics of the net. And now the bitangents are lines which are pencils of quadrics and correspond corresponding to the 28 pencils of quadrics in the net, which contain one of the 28 chords of the set of points. So we have 8 points, so there are 8 choose 2 lines joining pairs of these points, and these 28 H choose 2 lines correspond to 28 pencils, and these pencils are lines in this plane of lambdas, and these lines are exactly the bitangents. This is the beginning of the beautiful theory studied by Hesse, and then also by Cayley. Okay, let me go back to the case 2, which is more interesting for us. So we have now two situations. We have two different resolutions, of course. So in cases 1 and 2, we have two different resolutions of R, which is S modulo the ideal generated by the quadrics, and the resolutions are S R S minus 2 to the 3, S minus 4 to the 3, and S minus 6. This is a Koszul complex, because in case 1 you have a regular sequence, it is just a Koszul complex. Not much interesting, not too interesting, but this is the situation. In case 2, we have the resolution of the rational normal cubic, and the resolution is more interesting it looks like follows: R, S, then we get S minus 2 to the 3, these are the 3 quadrics, like here. But now, here we have the 3 quadratic relations, the trivial relations here. Here we have the 2 linear relations, so we have S minus 3 to the second, and that's all. These are linearly independent, this is the resolution. Okay, so 2 different resolutions, 2 different situations. So, okay, what I will do, I will keep talking about quadrics, because quadrics are the most interesting, at least the first interesting object to study, and we are interested in the KP1 CDG modules and CDG numbers, which Marian introduced. And so we need to go now towards the definition of the CDG schemes. Before doing that, let me say some other trivial things about quadrics which are useful to know. Observation. Let a set of quadrics, a finite set of quadrics, Qi in Pn, be given. So what I would like to understand, what are a priori the relations we can have among these? Well, we assume first of all that there are no constant relations. In other words, we assume that they are linearly independent. Of course, it can be this constant relation, but let's forget about them. Let's go to a case in which they are linearly independent. Now, what can be? Now, the situation is that either they form a regular sequence, and then the relations are exactly trivial ones. The situation is like before, or they have some linear relation. So there is some linear relation among some of them or among all of them. These are the two possibilities. Of course, it can be some linear relation and some trivial ones which are not combination of the linear ones. So the situation can be mixed, but this is all can be. The relation among the quadrics are either constant, linear, or trivial. All the others are combination of this. This is an elementary fact which we have to keep in front of us. So just to give examples of quadrics with lots of linear relations. So examples of sets of quadrics, of course, and also linear relations, so which are interesting for us, are the following. We take a matrix of linear forms. Matrix M by M matrix of linear forms in Pn. So Lij belongs to S1. Okay, now take as Qi's the 2 by 2 minus of A. So the 2 by 2 minus of A is a family of quadrics, and are n choose 2 times m choose 2 quadrics, and these quadrics have a lot of linear relations. Why? Because we can take, you see, let me write let me just write something like this. Now clearly, if you take all the maximal minor, for example, if you take the 3 quadrics maximal minors of this submatrix, then they have this syzygy and this syzygy. If you take these other 2, they have this syzygy and this syzygy. All these quadrics can also always be organized in such a way that you can find linear relation between triples of them, just because you get for every 2 rows of this matrix, you can put together 3 of the quadrics you get, and they are related by linear relations. So this is a very simple remark, but this which is a very classical example, is exactly the most studied example classically, and these objects are very classical. These quadrics define very classical varieties, which are a generalization of the rational norma cubic I gave before. Among these cases, we get, for example, the Segre varieties, Pn minus 1 times Pn minus 1, embedded in Pn times m minus 1. The Segre variety is when these linear forms are just independent variables, and then you get this. And these are examples. And then you get also example when you take a plane section of this variety, you get all possible cases of this one, including the rational norma cubic. Of course, you can also take more complicated situations. For example, you can take square, symmetric or squisymmetric matrices and get minors, and you get quadrics. So quadrics having linear relations can be generated in various ways, and tend to be some fundamental class of quadrics to be used, to be considered when you study intersection of quadrics. Okay, so this is some preamble to arrive to the syzygy schemes. So what are the syzygy schemes? So syzygy schemes are obtained as a result, as a byproduct of a method to extract quadrics in the ideal of a variety X related by linear relations. So if it is more or less accepted that we are interested in looking for quadrics which are not making a regular sequence, but they are related by linear relations, then we are trying to find a method to produce them, and the CZG schemes are the outcome of this method, which was already introduced by Marian at the end of his lecture, and we will now introduce again in a maybe more down-to-earth way. So let me consider X in Pn, and this is P of V, V dual actually, because V is our polynomial ring, and then we take resolution, take minimal free resolution. This minimal free resolution is written this way: Fe minus 1, F1, P mod Ix 0, where Ix is a saturated homogeneous ideal of X. Suppose that Kp1 of X is different from 0 for some P. Okay, so now, if you remember, at the very end of his lecture, Marian explained how to describe this using the Koszul complex. And the situation is this: we take wedge P, let me write it a bit here, wedge P V tensor V, and we go to which, let me write it, yes, which tensor S2 modulo I2. I write it this way, but anyway, this is, of course, this is equal to modulo tensor S1 over I1, but I1 is 0 because we assume this variety to be non-degenerate, not containing any hyperplane. Okay, so this is exactly this. And then we have here wedge V plus 1, V tensor nothing. Okay? And we have, so this was a delta P plus 1, this was a delta P, and then here we have another map which goes to wedge P minus 2, V tensor S3 mod I3. Okay, now our Kp1 is the homology of this sequence here. Is the kernel modulo the image. Okay, now there is a nice way to interpret this, because you can write the following. We complete this in the diagram in the following way. We write here wedge P plus 1V again. We write here wedge P V, and here we write wedge V plus 1V tensor S2. And then we go again, wedge P minus 2V tensor S3. These are equal here, these two. Here you have a surjection, and here we have a surjection. Now, let some alpha in Kp1 be represented by alpha in wedge P V tensor V. There is an element here such that delta P of alpha is equal to 0. Right? Because it's an element which represents a cohomology element here. So it goes to 0 here. But now this is equal to this. So alpha is also here. And now, if you are interested in a non-zero element of Kp1, you are assuming Kp1 different from 0. If you are interested in a non-zero element here, then we will have something non-zero, so not coming from here, which goes to 0 here. Okay? Now let's view it here. There's something not coming from here. If it does not come, so this is a part of the Koszul complex, which is exact. So if something here does not come from here, goes to something non-zero here. And if it has to represent alpha, which goes to 0 here, means that this element we get here actually is in the kernel of this map. So let me be precise. Let me call this delta P with a bar, and let me call this delta P. So represented by alpha, such that delta bar P is equal to 0. And this is equivalent to delta P of alpha belonging to wedge P minus 1V tensor I2. Okay, so this element, non-zero element here, at the end gave us an element here. This is exactly what Marian did, but using the exact sequence of the torus. My approach is just direct here. So we get this object. So now, how this object looks like? Well, it's an element of this. So it's has the following form. Maybe I can erase here. Therefore, is a summation of Q I1 IP minus 1 X I1 wedge X IP minus 1 when 0 less than or equal than I1, less than IQ minus 1, and then equal than n. It's an object of this type, okay? With qi1 iq minus 1 belonging to the ideal. Okay? So this means then, not this means, I mean, then definition the CZG ideal of alpha is I alpha equal the idea generated by all these quadrics. Okay? And the CZG ideal of X is the, well, let me just make it another way, sorry. Let me do the CZG variety, and V of alpha is V of I of alpha is the CZG scheme of alpha. And now we define the CZG, the pith CZG scheme of X as the intersection when alpha varies in kp minus 1 of V of I alphas. As I run alpha through all elements here. So this is a very simple definition, except that it is not easy to compute this. But anyway, this is the definition. But now there is something more, because I spoke about quadrics related by linear relations. I should justify this. So observe that once we have this here we have, so delta P of alpha is here. Now we know that if we map it here by delta P minus 1, this goes to 0. So we are in cohomology. Okay, so this is a complex. So this is true. Then we had to write down this relation. So we had to write down what this means, and this means the following. Means that delta P minus 1 of what I wrote here. Of this. Of summation Qi1 Qip minus 1 xi1 wedge xip minus 1, and this is equal to summation j minus 1 to the j xj qj xi1, no, sorry, it's not like this, is equal to summation I1 IP minus 2 otherwise I make a mess here. Of summation I different from I1 ip minus 2 of plus or minus qi I1 ip minus 2 x I1 wedge x ip minus 2 equal to 0. Where here, sorry, I forgot to put an xi, plus or minus xi, where xi is the basis of V chosen here in the Koszul complex. Where I wrote here, you see, now these are not strictly increasing because I could be, should be repositioned here. So you have to change the sign, so I wrote plus or minus. But anyway, the conclusion is that since this is 0, this is equivalent to being 0 every coefficient. So summation plus or minus xi qi I1 ip minus 2 is equal to 0. Summation I. For all I1 ip minus 2 for a set of indices. So we get a bunch of linear relations among these quadrics. Okay? So I extracted it inside the parentheses, what I have here. Each of these is 0 because this being 0 means that the coefficients are 0. So these are linear relations among those quadrics which I have obtained before as generators of the CZG scheme. I think I can erase here. So let me just make some, can I erase here?
Yes.
Remarks. So since P of x contains x, obviously because the quadrats are in the ideal, if equal, then x is the intersection of quadrics with linear syzygies and no trivial ones. So this means that K1, so K21, so K2Q 0 if Q is greater or equal to 2, I would say. Okay, so let me give some examples. See, the time is going very, very quickly. So let me give some examples. I will skip points. I will look at curves. So, examples of canonical curves. So let's go.
Equality is auto P or just some P? If equal, then P to P equal 2 K.
At least 2.
At least 2.
So it's okay, no?
Yeah, but also P is at least 2.
Ah, seeds P. Yes.
Because here is P minus 2 is 0 in the relation.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, P is equal to 1. Seeds 1. Yes, okay. Let me just go to canonical curves, okay? So canonical curves are, the first cases are easy to discuss, just to get an idea of how this, so genus 3. So C in P2 is a plane quartic. Now, a priori, we know that this curve is not contained in any quadric, in any conic. So certainly, we can conclude that seeds 2 of C is equal to P2. There's nothing to intersect. I didn't say, I'm trying to study, to consider seeds 2 of C, which is the first one you want to study. And seeds 2 has to do with K21. K21 are the linear syzygies among the generators of the ideal. Okay, so you want to look at this object. Clearly K21 is equal to 0 because there are no quadrics, so there are no generators, no linear relations among the quadrics. So if there is nothing to intersect, you get P2. So this case is trivial. So let me say genus 4. Genus 4 is a little less trivial, but again, C is equal to Q intersect F3 in P3, canonical curve in P3, quadric intersected with the cubic. Now you see, what is K21 going to be? But K21 should be linear relations among the quadrics. But if there is only one quadric, there are no relations. So this is 0 again. And so seeds 2 C is the whole of P3. Okay. Now let's go to the next case. Genus 5. Well, there are two cases here. C non-trigonal and C trigonal. And let me say A and B. In case A, we have that the curve is a complete intersection of three quadrics. Now, case A, I of C2 is always containing three quadrics, always. In case A, regular sequence. Complete intersection. The conclusion, there are no linear relations. So seeds 2 of C is equal to P3. Case B, trigonal, that if the curve is trigonal, we know that these quadrants do not generate the ideal, but they generate the ideal of a scroll, of a surface. And this scroll is a cubic scroll, in P4, sorry, P4. Is a cubic scroll in P4 which has the same structure of a rational normal curve. So it has two linear syzygies. And so linear syzygies are those of a scroll of the scroll Q1, and these linear syzygies, they involve all the quadrics Q1, Q2, Q3, these linear syzygies, because as before you have a matrix or linear form 2 by 3, and so this means that the ideal is generated by the three quadrics. The three quadrics are came out from the relations, and so when we compute, we get the three quadrics, and so this is equal to the scroll. So it's different from I1C again. I'm running out of time? Yes. So let me just finish here. Genus 5. Sorry, genus 5 was that, no? Genus 6. Genus 6 is more interesting and more complicated. And C can be realized, a general C, as a plane curve, sextic, with 4 double points. So we have something like this. Okay. And such a curve, you can map it to P5, equal PG minus 1, by the adjoints to this curve of degree minus t, so the cubics. So you map here by the linear system of cubics through these points, P1, P2, P3 and P4, and you map, so you map P2, so P2 gets mapped to a surface which is a Del Pezzo surface of degree 5, and the curve here gets mapped to his canonical image, which is inside here. Now what one computes is that the ideal of C in degree 2 here, let me identify this with C, the dimension is G minus 2, shows 2 as always, and so this is 6. Instead S is a Del Pezzo surface of degree 5, and the dimension of IS2 is equal to 5. This is given by the Pfaffians of a 5 by 5 skew-symmetric matrix. So you see we have certain quadrics which are those containing the surface. And then we have an extra quadric to get the curve. So the curve C is intersection of S with an extra quadric, the 6th quadric. And what happens is that S is given by Pfaffian as linear syzygies. These quadrics are related by linear syzygies, which are the columns of the skew-symmetric matrix. So sys2 of S is equal to S. You get all the quadrics. Now this extra quadric has only trivial relations with the others, because you make a complete intersection. So it's only trivial relations. So you don't get anything else in the idea. So you get a seeds 2 of C is equal to seeds 2 of S is equal to S. So this is different from C. So also in this case you get a bad situation. I should stop, I guess. Excuse me for overtime.